Welcome back, Albert here. Today we will be talking about Tar-Atanamir, the 13th ruler of Númenor. Atanamir was born in the year 1800 SA and was the only child of Tar-Atanamir. Atanamir's name meant Jewel of Man, but throughout his life he would earn two more names, the Great and the Unwilling. More on that soon. Little is known about Atanamir's youth and early life, but one can speculate a few things. As you would have learned from my previous video, Tar-Atanamir, Atanamir's father, under his grandfather's rule, set out on many ventures around the world, as they said his heart was restless in Númenor. So one could speculate even further that this period was either a time of great sadness for Atanamir or great happiness. Of course, assuming Tar-Atanamir went on his ventures after 1800 SA and not before. But let's assume it was after 1800 SA. Since there is no mention of Tar-Atanamir bringing his son on these ventures, my conclusion must be Atanamir was left behind in his youth. This may have been a point of sadness for him, but this is up for debate. In 1869 SA, his father would be crowned king, and he would become the official prince heir. His father's rule was the beginning of great change for the Númenor and for the people of Middle-earth. Tar-Atanamir had little love for the Eldar and desired power and wealth, and he sought to get it. Thus began the time of subjugation and tributes from the people of Middle-earth, and they say this was the first sign of shadow for the Númenor. A Númenor Atanamir would fully embrace and truly help shape, as you will soon see. In 2029 SA, Atanamir would accept the scepter of kingship and succeed his father, and become Tar-Atanamir. Like his father, he treated the people of Middle-earth badly, and from their now fortified havens, they demanded even more tributes, bringing these spoils back to Númenor. Atanamir's reign as king was thus generally considered to constitute the zenith of Númenor bliss, but also moral decline, which was fully expressed by Tar-Atanamir himself. It was he who first spoke openly against the ban of the Valar, and declared that the life of the Eldar was his by right. And although he would not defy the ban, this was a significant cultural shift for the Númenorian people, the first seed that would lead to future divisions among the Númenorian people. As I mentioned in my last video, this was not unnoticed. The Eldar had become uneasy by recent actions of the Númenorians, and when word came of Tar-Atanamir's declaration against the Valar, they knew they had to intervene. The Eldar sent word to the Valar, who were very disappointed by the news. Manwë, the king of the Valar, sent ambassadors to understand his reasoning and also to warn them. They explained that even if the Númenorians could find their way to the Undying Lands, it would not grant them immortality or undo their doom. Tar-Atanamir brought up the matter of his ancestor, Eärendil, who still lived in the sky. But the messengers of Manwë explained his fate was different and apart from man's. This displeased the king gravely. He was very unsatisfied that he and his people must abide the will of Eru Ilúvatar and yet be doomed to die. I like to imagine the ambassadors departed with concerned faces, and Manwë was not pleased when they returned with what the king had said. Tar-Atanamir had two children, but only one name was recorded, Ankaliman. Now, although the other child's name is lost, this nameless heir does have a link to a future ruler, which I will get into later in the series. As I mentioned at the beginning, Tar-Atanamir had two names: the Great, a reference perhaps to the power and wealth he gave Numenor, and Unwilling. This he earned by refusing to give up the throne before death, breaking established traditions by kings and queens before. He ruled for 192 years, holding on until the age of 421, during which time he had become senile, and the vigour of life had left him. When he finally died, the sceptre of Numenor went to his son Ankaliman. Thus ended the life of Tar-Atanamir, and that's it, my friends. We are now creeping further into the shadow that is starting to fall on the Númenóreans. It is heartbreaking to see the change. It is intriguing to witness the reaction from Manwë and the defiance of Tar-Atanamir. His argument for immortality unfortunately fell on deaf ears. I like to think the ambassadors of Manwë went into more detail during their visit, explaining the reality that even Manwë is bound by the rules of God, and he cannot offer them this gift of immortality. An unfair pill to swallow, and I wish it could have been different. I hope you enjoyed that. If you like this content, please like, subscribe and comment. Thank you once again for the support, and as always, may the light of Eärendil guide your way.